We like to think of love and friendship as very random. Perhaps there was a mutual glance on a train, a late night text. Somehow everything just works out and it all just happens. Sometimes I like to think to myself, what if it's just not random at all? Like, what if you could take it from a software engineering perspective and put it all into code where it follows specific rules? Funny enough, recently I was just browsing through YouTube and I found this YouTube channel called Oddly Specific Crystal, and she does exactly what I'm talking about right now, which is basically she has mind maps of these like relationship concepts, and it's called Oddly Specific because she has this huge flowchart about what to do in very specific situations. I haven't really watched her video yet, but I'm super interested to see what types of if-else conditions or branching decisions this Crystal Girl has in her videos. Because at the end of the day, maybe every love story or relationship is just a chain of coincidental conditionals. Alright, I have my iPad with me because I don't really have OBS or how all the streamers have it set up, and for some reason QuickTime doesn't let you record the audio, and I'm too lazy to figure out like the ways to like record it on my laptop. So I'm using my iPad to just screen record to watch this video. Let me get this set up first. I just realized I did not set up my headphones for this. Okay, give me a quick second while I figure this out. Oh my gosh, I have 2% left. 1 second. Okay, I'm back with my AirPods. Okay, so this is the channel I was talking about. Oddly Specific Crystal. Oh my god, I have to watch ads. Okay, so her most popular video here is should you tell your crush you like them? Alright, let's react to this, and I think this is actually be really interesting to think about this from a very software engineering perspective. Alright.
No, how do you know your crush? Should you tell your crush you like them? This is the definitive guide. Should you tell your crush you like them? This is the definitive guide to literally every scenario of whether or not you should tell your crush you like them. First question, everyone starts here. Is your crush seeing someone? There's 3 options.
Is your crush seeing someone? Should you tell your crush you like them? Is your crush seeing someone? Is that the first question that typically... I guess if you are trying to decide if you want to tell your crush if you like them or not, this is probably the first question you're thinking of. The other problem is like maybe you don't know and you don't want to directly ask if they're seeing somebody, so you're kind of just like figuring out based on their social media behavior.
Here, I don't know, no, yes.
Oh,
if you picked, I don't know, find out. If you picked no, how do you know your crush? This branches
See, I love that. Like, even though people don't agree on love in relationships, the fact that we have some universal things that we already agreed on means that there is hope at some point for this to turn into some type of universal algorithm to be used by all people.
Different answers, online or through in-person circumstances. If you picked through in-person circumstances, now you have to pick from these 4 options. Number 1, you met your crush via friends. Number 2, you met your crush through school. Number 3, you met your crush through work. Or number 4, you met your crush at a third space, like a coffee shop, a bar, like a shopping mall. We're first going to talk about if you met your crush through friends. So if you met your crush through friends, you now have to pick from these 2 options, which are number 1, you're really friends with your crush, or you met your crush through friends, but you're not necessarily friends with your crush. If you picked your friends with your crush, are you and your crush in a friend group together? So what I mean by this is like, are you and your crush like one-on-one friends and you hang out just the 2 of you, or are you 2 part of like a wider friend group that you hang out with? If you picked no, you're not in a friend group, aka your friends one-on-one, I think you should tell them, but be mentally prepared that it's gonna make things really awkward if they don't like you. I'm really sorry, but you should probably do it anyway for your mental clarity and for like your mental health. This is like prepared that it's gonna make, if you picked no, you're not in a friend group, aka your friends one-on-one, I think you should tell them, but be mentally prepared that it's gonna...
Nah, I totally agree with that. That means you don't have to worry about like weird friend group dynamic if, you know, it doesn't go well.
Make things really awkward if they don't like you. I'm really sorry, but you should probably do it anyway for your mental clarity and for like your mental health. This is like the most movie-esque scenario that you can be in, right? If you tell your crush you like them and they're your best friend and they like you back, and then oh, you get married, or you ruin things forever, but you never really know until you tell them. So you might as well just do it. Good luck and tell us below what happened. If you pick
in the whole history of internet marketing, it has never been this easy to get clients, but only for those who know how.
Yes, you and your crush are in a wider friend group. The next question is, was your crush ever seeing someone in the friend group? If you pick yes, define seeing. From here, you can either pick number 1, your crush was casually hooking up with someone else in your friend group, or number 2, your crush was dating someone else in your friend group. If you picked your crush was dating someone in your friend group, how serious was it? On a scale of scale of 0 to 5.
Nah,
1 to 2,
bro
they went
code,
on like
man,
one
bro
bad date
code.
and they're not attracted to each other at all. 3 to 4, they dated for a couple of weeks but it didn't ever get serious. Or 4 to 5, they dated very seriously. They like met each other's parents. Maybe they have a kid or like a pet together. They talked about their future plans. Like any of those, a combination of those. 4 to 5. If you picked 1 to 2, then you have the final outcome of yeah, do it. So long as you're okay with the fact that getting together with your crush and or potentially breaking up with them may or will change the dynamic of your friend group forever and or break up your friend group. If you picked 3 to 4 in terms of
No,
seriousness,
facts,
like they dated for a couple
facts,
of weeks, but they
This
didn't get
is
like that
definitely all
serious.
facts.
Or you picked 4 to 5 just now in that question, which was it was very serious, but there is a chance that your crush does actually like you. You both have the next step, which is to determine whether or not it's actually up for you to ask out your friend's ex. In order to do that, we're obviously going to have to apply the mathematical formula of Katie's law, aka whether or not it's up for you to date your friend's boyfriend.
Katie's
So in order to
law?
apply
What is
Katie's law,
this?
we have to consider the following formula, which is T sub safe equals
Is this some type of show that I've never watched? What is this?
D times F over G, where T sub safe is the time in months you should wait before telling your crush you like them. D is the total duration in months of your friend and your crush's relationship. F is the friendship level of you and your friend on a scale of 1 to 10. So like 1 being the lowest and 10 being this is my ride or die best
Okay,
friend.
this sounds
I would
very
lie
scientific.
and curve a train track for them. And G is the total time in months between your friend and your crush breaking up and you telling your crush that you like them. So plug in all of the conditions into that formula and see what number you get for T sub safe. So I'll give you an example calculation of how to use this. Let's say your friend dated this guy for 12 months. So in D you would put 12. Let's say you're moderately close to this friend. So F you would put like 6. And your friend and that guy broke up 6 months ago. So for G you would put 6. So plug that into the formula. T sub safe equals 12 times 6 divided by 6 equals 12 months. So now that you have your variable for T sub safe, which is 12 months, we now need to consider the 3 conditions which will determine what you should do. If G is less than 2, the answer is always don't think about it, do not do it, do not ask your crush out. If T sub safe is smaller and or equal to G, then you might be good, but proceed with extreme caution and the willingness to risk your entire friendship. So if you got G is less than 2 and or T sub safe is larger than G, you should probably pick no. Do not tell your crush you like them. But if, however, you did get T sub safe is smaller and or equal to G, then you can move on to the next step, which is asking, do either your friend or your crush still have feelings for each other? If you chose yes and or I don't know for this, the next question is the potential of getting together with
Whoa. So I was trying to follow along with how the math worked, like the friendship, whatever. I think it's just based on like how long they were dating and then how long your friendship is and then like blah blah blah. I kind of understand the basics of it, but I don't know. Like math was never really my strong suit. I mean, I did okay in math, but I don't like math.
your crush and or potentially breaking up with them outweigh the risk of potentially changing the entire dynamic of the friend group forever. If you picked no, don't tell them. If you picked yes, tell them. But best of luck to you. So now we're going to talk about if you picked no to the question of do you think that your crush and or their ex still has feelings for each other. If you picked no, you sure? If you picked no, I'm not sure, then you go into the other question, which is does the potential
Okay,
of
where
getting
are we
together
so
with your
far? I'm
crush-
lost. So they're not seeing somebody right now. You know them in real life via friends. Okay, so we're in like the friend branch right now. Like you met them through friends. This is probably like the best way. It's kind of like getting a referral for a job. You're friends with them. You're in friend group together. They used to date your friend. They went on a few dates. It was serious. They don't have feelings for each other. Then never. Okay, I see. Okay,
outweigh
cool.
the risk of things being incredibly
this right now.
awkward, and then you answer that branch just now. If you picked yes, I'm sure that my friend and my crush do not have any lingering feelings for each other, then you get the outcome of, yeah, do it. Again, with the asterisk of so long as you're okay with it changing the dynamic forever. I feel like I've talked about this. So now we're gonna go back all the way up the branch. I hope you're following this because it's very confusing. We're gonna go back to the question of yes, your crush was.
No, this is not confusing. Like, if anything, I feel like even though people don't talk about it, there is definitely some type of mental model, like with this, that most people can agree on. And like, even the first question right there, they're not seeing someone right now. Everyone can agree on that is a pretty universal question that you need to ask at the very, very beginning to know if you want to confess that you like them or not. All right. But maybe that's the only thing that people agree
If
on.
you from that branch, instead of picking your crush was dating someone else in the friend group, if you instead picked your crush was casually hooking up with someone in the friend group, you automatically get pulled all the way down to, yeah, do it. So the same outcome as just now. And I'm not gonna say the whole thing
I love that because that feels like in programming terms, if you have like a try-catch block and where like this just like throws an exception for you.
over again. You can read it on the screen. Going up one more option. If you picked no, your crush had never been seeing anyone or was never romantically involved with anyone else in your friend group. Follow-up question from that is, does anyone else in your friend group like your crush? If you picked yes, someone else in my friend group does like my crush. Follow-up question from that is there any chance that your
Bro,
crush...
tell me this is not like... Bro, this entire video is honestly just like a software engineer's dream. Because this is all just like if-else conditionals, exceptions, exception handling. Honestly, this is the type of app I feel like as a software engineer would be super cool to make so that you could help other software engineers make good social decisions.
actually likes you, because rather than risk
Okay, where are we in the
ruining your
map?
entire
Right now?
friendship with a third friend...
Where are we? They're not seeing someone right now. You know them. You're like blah blah blah. You're friends. You're friends with them. You're in friend group together. They never saw any of your friends. Your friend likes your. Oh, your friend likes your. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. That's why, as a guy, if you have a crush, you never want to bring another guy friend who is just like very attractive. Have you guys noticed this? It's like when a guy is like really into this girl and this girl is like, oh, let's all hang out with like some friends and you should bring some guy friends. The guy always ends up bringing like a bunch of guy friends who are just like Okay, I'm not saying ugly, but not the crush's type, I will say. So you always gotta have some friends that can, help you in these types of scenarios. Because what if you bring like a guy friend and he's just like the best? Then you're kind of screwed because then you're setting yourself up for this kind of risky situation where like you're okay. I'm talking more about your crush likes your friend, but okay, you see what I'm saying? Guys do that a lot.
Friend who also has a crush on your crush, you should first ask yourself, is there anything on the line that's even worth risking for me to completely ruin my friendship with this third person? If you pick no,
Okay, I guess
the outcome of,
I guess I'm skipping ahead here. I guess this is like just like the whole prevention phase of like your crush liking your friend, so you don't bring a friend that is like, their type. But maybe she'll get into this.
I wouldn't, to be honest, because the trade-off isn't worth it anyway if your crush isn't gonna like you back, like you just ruined 2 relationships in your life. I wouldn't do it. But if you pick yes, there is a chance that my crush does actually like me back. You get the question that I've said a million times now, which is, does the potential of getting together with your crush outweigh the risk of potentially making things awkward and or ruining your relationship with this third friend? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yes or no. You read on screen. Going back up to the question of does anyone else in your friend group like your crush? If you pick no, you just get fast-tracked all the way to the same question, which is does the potential of getting together with your crush potentially risk ruining the relationship? Pick yes or no, or don't tell them, and or tell them with extreme caution. Okay, so
procrastination isn't your fault.
Now completed all of the options for are you and your crush in a friend group together. You should have your
Okay,
answer.
nice.
That.
So
We're now gonna
we
discuss the
are
scenario.
finally done the first branch, which is you are part of the same friend group. Perfect. This is like the A1 branch. Actually, even though there's a lot of cons here, which is like messing up the friend circle and things like that, that's probably still the best way because it's almost like a referral for a job. That's actually probably one of the most important things that we have yet to figure out as a society. It's like when you meet somebody online, that trust factor is just not there. Like meeting somebody in person or having a friend vouch for this person is just like so much easier to be like, oh, this guy might actually be kind of chill or this girl might be kind of chill. So this is definitely the most ideal branch at this point until social media figures out a way where you can actually trust a person that you actually meet online. So let's see what she says about that.
Of you met your crush through friends, but you're not necessarily friends with your crush. So there's 2 options here that you can pick from. Number 1 is you and your crush have a mutual friend, so like you guys have a friend between you, even if you two aren't necessarily friends. The second one is your crush is related to your friend, the sibling, cousin, blah 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 of a friend that you have. If you pick you and your crush have a mutual friend that's not related to your crush, then you go back into the previous branch, which is are you and your crush in a friend group together, and then watch the previous part of this video. I'm not gonna do that entire thing again. If you pick your crush is related to someone that's your friend, oh my god, are they your friend's sibling? If you pick yes, oh my god. Next question is, do you think you like them because you actually like them as a person, or do you think you have a crush on them just because they're your friend's sibling? And so by proximity or like some weird mind thing, you have a crush on them. If you pick yes, I think I only like them because they're my friend's sibling, then don't tell them, and I'm sure you'll phase out of it, so don't do it. If you pick no, I don't think I like them for that reason. Follow-up question is, does the prospect of being your crush outweigh the fact that you're probably most likely gonna completely ruin or at least make it incredibly awkward with your friend for a period of time and or forever? If you pick no, don't tell them. If you pick yes, tell them, but going back to the question of are they your friend's sibling, if you pick no, parent, if you pick yes or no, surprise, you get the same outcome, which is I'm not getting involved in this show, close this YouTube video right now. Now we covered all of the scenarios where you met your crush via friends. We're now going to discuss the scenario, which is you met your crush through school. So the first question is, do you see your crush often? There's 2 options.
This met through school is just like a huge dunk on anybody who's already graduated from school. It's like, yes, school is probably one of the best places because you just put like a bunch of kids together and they go to parties and they get to meet people, so you have that commonality already. But as soon as you exit school, that branch just completely goes away, which is why as an adult, it's so much more difficult to make new friends and build new relationships.
Options that you can pick from this, no or yes. No would be, for example, you're on a big campus, you're not in any of the same classes, you're in separate departments, you're never gonna run into them. If that's the case, very simple answer, you should tell them because you're not gonna risk anything. If you're in school, you're young or not young, or like you're spiritually young, so like you should tell them anyway.
She's worried about the awkwardness of like bumping into somebody if you like confess to them. Honestly, I feel like it's not that huge of a deal. Like you're only gonna be in campus for what, 4 years for undergrad. The whole point of like this whole school campus thing is that you can meet a lot of people in a kind of confined space, and even if you're not in the same classes, you're not in the same major, you're in the same school. Like, there's a point, like, there's definitely always a point. Like, there's 100% a commonality there that you'll never have for the rest of your life again, except for your colleagues, which, yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms. If you want to confess your crush, or, like, if you want to confess to your colleague, that's a whole nother kind of HR can of worms that I don't want to open right now.
You do see your crush often, e.g. you're in the same class, you're in the same department, you work together on group projects. Follow-up question is, do you actually like them? Like, do you think you actually have a crush on this person because you're just in forced proximity with them? If you chose, you think you only like them because you're forced to be together, like it's forced proximity, then you get the outcome of don't tell them because it's going to ruin the purpose they serve in your life anyway, which is like having something interesting to fantasize and crush about.
Definitely from a software engineering perspective, in the future, any algorithm will have to consider proximity. It's like, yes, we have so much love for each other, but she lives in like Antarctica and I live in the South Pole. Like, that's not gonna work. So yeah, proximity is definitely like a huge thing that maybe is just like a part of the weighted model, you know?
Or like in a boring calculus class, and if you tell them, it's going to ruin the magic for you, and then it's also just going to make 8 a.m. on Wednesdays incredibly uncomfortable, so I wouldn't tell them. If you pick, no, I actually do like them for them,
like
and
8
it's
a.m.
not
labs
because
on Wednesdays
we're
or
in
something?
forced proximity together. Follow-up question. You're saying you would have a crush on the person, even if you didn't have to see them every day. You're sure. Two options that you can pick from this. First one, okay, maybe not. Then you go back to the answer, which is don't tell them. If you pick, yes, I do actually like this person, then your outcome is tell them. And you'll either be in the best relationship of your life and you'll be married, or you'll make things incredibly awkward and uncomfortable for yourself every day when you're forced to see them for the rest of, I don't know, the 4 or 5 years that you're in school.
Enjoy. Yes, I love you.
Sky.
Oh my gosh, another ad? Are you serious?
Eyes. Focus. Okay, something you dreamt about since you're a little girl. It's all you. Let's go. Come on. Stay relaxed. Focus.
A second ad? Bruh.
Okay, so now we covered all the scenarios of if you met your crush through school. We're now going to discuss.
Bruh. I feel like there's way more scenarios of if you met your crush through school, but it is what it is. That's like a huge branch that goes away when you become an adult, so I'm just not even worried about this right now. Let's keep going.
Through work, because you're an old person and you go to work.
Oh my gosh, see? She's calling. Oh my god. Dude. Bruh. Bruh, I feel like I'm being called out, man. Like, I was talking about how that branch completely goes away, but she has a branch specifically for meeting somebody through work. So, I didn't actually want to open this can of worms because this is whole, like, HR disaster, but let's see what she says.
You're being fired. If you chose yes, don't tell them. It's probably against HR rules. You don't tell them. If you picked no, I don't fear being fired. You sure? If you picked no, I can't even pay rent, don't tell them. If you picked
yeah,
yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Being fired. Follow-up question is your crush in the same level as you in the work hierarchy?
You can't, like, you just avoid this whole, like, you, like, at work, it's just don't do it. I don't know. But, you know, like, what if you, I don't know, I just think it's too much.
Think about, like,
you
the
don't
employees in your workspace. Like, are you above your crush, below your crush, or are you, like, on the same level? Like, you're similar pay, you know what I mean? If you pick yes, you're on the same hierarchy, maybe because you do the same job, or, like, you have the same manager. Like, you're on the same, like, kind of level playing field. Follow-up question is the same as the school question, which is, do you think you actually like this person? Like, do you think you have a crush on them because you actually like them, or do you think you have a crush on them just because, like, you're forced to see them in the office every day? Like, would you think that this person was cute, and would you be attracted to them if you, like, walked across?
You know what? I'm looking at this mind map, and, like, the feeling that I'm getting is you have school when you're younger, and it is way less pressure. Yes, there are some situations where it might be awkward because you're in the same class, things like that, but there's way less pressure if you ask your crush out. And worst case scenario, you leave after like 4 years and it's not too bad and you're not in the same class anymore. But then when you go out into society and you get a job, that's what replaces school. And it replaces school in the fact that you are in close proximity with a bunch of these people. So it replaces sort of the proximity aspect of school with work. Except here, you do have to ask yourself the question, do you actually like them? Or do you only have a crush on them because you're in forced proximity with them? And there's a whole HR disaster. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that being an adult and trying to form relationships, whether it's like friendships or relationships, is just a huge disaster because you don't really have the proximity advantage. Most of us are spending our 9 to 5s in proximity with people who, you know, it's like you're lucky if you really like them, but if you don't like them, you're also screwed. If you like them, then you're also screwed. I don't know.
The street from them and like you don't know them, or do you only think they're cute because they're like the cutest guy in your office building where no one is really cute? If you picked forced proximity, don't tell them. If you picked no, I actually like them, well, yeah, tell them, and it could be, you know, Jim and
But I don't know about
yeah.
forced proximity. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, we match because of our personalities, or I just have, or like physical attractiveness. I'm really into like all this stuff. But I think a huge part that people don't really think about is the concept of building shared experiences. And that's why, like, whenever people talk about like, oh, should you leave your, let's say, like, wife of like 20 years for this other person because they are perfect compatibility with you from some like AI bot. Like, I think the huge piece that has always been missing about that part is shared experience. Here, she talks about how forced proximity or the idea of shared experience messes up sort of your thought process of if you like somebody or not. But I actually think that that's hugely important. The more shared experiences you have, that's sort of what builds that closeness or builds that bond with somebody. I guess my main point is like, in terms of compatibility, people think about like physical attractiveness or just like personality or just like how well they fit together. But I honestly do think also shared experience is a huge part of it, which is why proximity is also super important. Okay, let's continue.
Office, greatest thing ever, or incredibly awkward, and you probably risk getting fired. So there you go. Now we're gonna go back to the question of the work hierarchy. So if you picked no, aka your crush is on a different level from you on the work hierarchy, now there's two options. Either your crush is your superior or your crush is superior. If your crush is your superior, follow-up question from that is, do you think you like your crush because you just have a weird thing for authority figures? So think about that. There's only one answer that you can pick from here, which is I do have a weird thing for authority figures, but that's not the point, Crystal. And so you get the outcome of, if you do it, there's a 1% chance you'll get a promotion, and this will be like 50 Shades of Grey, and a 99% chance you'll be fired immediately. Going back to the work hierarchy, if you picked your crush is your junior, so your crush is superior, follow-up question from that is there any chance at all your crush actually likes you, or is this just some sick power play that will make your crush incredibly uncomfortable for the rest of their limited time working there before they inevitably resign because you're being weird? If you picked no, there's no chance that your crush likes you, don't tell them.
Food's here, but your phone's
Another
there.
ad.
What's more important than your education? Sushi? Panini? Jambalaya?
It's a Mac. I can just mirror my phone from here.
Oh,
I've never used
glad we
this
learned
iPhone mirror
something.
before.
Old Spice, super hydration. Keeps me
God,
24/7
2 ads? Are you
moisturized
kidding
and
me?
smells like a Fiji vacation.
You picked yes, HR will hear about this. So that's all the scenarios of if you met your crush through work.
All right,
We're
let's
now
just
going to go
ignore the
into the
HR
final
stuff.
scenario for the in-person circumstances, which is you met your crush at like a third space, so like a coffee shop, the bar,
Not online dating?
airport, supermarket.
Wow. She doesn't talk about online dating at all. I feel like that's actually probably like the top way of like it's slowly becoming more and more prevalent for a lot of people, especially if they go to work. Because we talk about how work is just like a huge HR nightmare. Like online dating has now become like a huge thing. But again, online dating is not as great at this point because the trust factor is still like very, very difficult. So compared to like friends, online dating is kind of just like a brute force algorithm. We're just like brute forcing it and you just like go through a bunch of people like really quickly by swiping left and right. Whereas friends is like more high quality optimized algorithm. And a lot of people choose to do like a combination of both. But again, the other branches where it's like school, work, friends have some major cons because it's like as you get older, those things are more constricted and there's just like more complexities to it all is kind of like what she's also mentioning here. So I'm surprised that she hasn't talked a lot about online dating. Let's just keep watching here.
Blah blah blah, like you don't really know them, they're just a stranger. In this case, I think you should tell them because they're a stranger. Like maybe it's like a coffee shop that you frequent a lot or like the supermarket that you always go to, then in which case, yeah, it would be a little weird if you
See,
asked
this
them
whole
out.
fourth branch for me is just like it doesn't exist. No software engineer is going to some coffee shop. I know you see all these videos about software engineers going to coffee shops to work. They don't do that. You need like peace and quiet is all I'm saying.
They said no, and then you'd probably have to like completely change your shopping places. Like it's not significant enough of a burden or like a significant enough impact in your life potentially that's negative for you to like not do it. So like for sure, you should just tell them. Sorry if that's not as entertaining, but that's two cents. Okay, so we've just
software engineers okay. I see all these videos on YouTube about software engineers going to coffee shops, but I don't know about you guys. I feel like most software engineers are just at home with their like big monitor setup. That's the problem. When you're at a coffee shop, you don't have your monitor. Like you need a monitor with you. They have their like 4 monitors set up with like the hockey game and the basketball game and then like their IDE and then their like terminal running somewhere else. So like nobody's going to a coffee shop because you can't set up your monitor there.
completed all of the in-person circumstances for how do you know your crush. Again, being that your crush is not dating someone.
The in-person circumstances. So she is going to talk about the online circumstances. Thank you. 5 more minutes left in this video.
Now we're going to discuss your crush is not dating someone, but you know them online or through the internet. If you said, I know my crush online, follow-up question is...
Yeah, this is the biggest problem. It's like, are they trustworthy or not when they're online? That's something that I would ask as the first, like, can I actually trust this person? Or like, because it's like a huge, like, I feel like for online dating, there's like a huge, or like just meeting somebody online in general, there's like a huge gap between like you getting to know them and then meeting them in person. Like, that's something that you don't actually have to think about when, like, you already know them or you already put up a friend group or you have already met them. Like, that physical meeting is actually, like, a very highly expensive interaction. It's like, you have to, like, get ready, do all this stuff. For women, you have to, like, put on makeup, get yourself ready. For guys, you have to, like, roll out of bed. So, definitely in the future, maybe there are better ways to bridge that gap between, like, meeting somebody online and then that huge gap to meeting them in person. Maybe in between there are steps like, audio chat or like icebreakers or things that are set up purposefully by an app. But for now, I think the biggest question is like, how do you build trust there? So let's see if that's what she talks about too.
celebrity. If you pick
Are they
yes,
a
and I have to
celebrity?
put
Are
this
you kidding
option
me?
in-
Bro, most people are not on Riot. Why is this the first question she's thinking about? We're not in LA.
You might think this is really stupid, but I know there's a bunch of emails in my comments that be like, my crush is a celebrity. My crush is like a TikTok star. In which case, I have to put this in for emails. If you pick yes, but my crush is a celebrity, you can tell them, but they're never gonna know about it. So have fun, go crazy. You know?
Okay,
they
I
don't
see
read
the
their
angle
comments.
she's going
Just
at.
do it. If you picked no, my crush is a real person. They're not a celebrity. Then follow-up question is,
Okay, I see the angle that she's going with the celebrities. She's basically setting up her base cases before you actually go into like the actual algorithm. Okay, let's keep going.
on a dating app. If you picked yes, I'm gonna assume for this scenario that they also swiped right on you, so it's not like some random person that swiped left on you on Tinder and you didn't match them. I'm assuming here you matched them on a dating app, in which case, yeah, you should tell them, but yeah, tell them, but like I'm assuming they already know that you like them. But they at least know that you're physically attracted to them if you matched on a dating app. But maybe they don't know. Maybe they're using Tinder friends. If you picked no, I didn't meet them on a dating app. Follow-up question is, have you ever met this person in real life? If you picked yes, I have met this person in real life.
See, that's the whole problem with like a lot of dating apps. It's too forced. Like what she was saying, it's already assumed that you like each other, but there's definitely some aspect of like meeting somebody in person where it's like kind of unclear, and in the beginning you're kind of just like trying to understand each other. And the beauty about that is that there's not as much pressure. Whereas if you meet somebody through like Tinder, or if you meet them through online dating, another huge gap between you meeting each other is that because there is this like preconceived notion of like how you guys met and the fact that you guys kind of already like each other, then there's like a huge thought process of like, oh, well, if I meet them, that means like it is a date and we're like, you know, we're trying to like, we're interested in each other. There is just a lot more seriousness into that interaction, whereas there's like a lot less pressure if you kind of meet them in person. So I don't know, I feel like the way that social media is set up right now, it is for a reason and purposeful, but it's missing an essence of like randomness and coincidence, and not having things being super forced, where in the beginning you're kind of just like in a low pressure setting and building trust with each other. Online dating kind of doesn't really do that. It forces you to really be serious at the start.
If you picked no, I've only known this person online, I've never met them in real life, you get the option of you can tell them, but there's a chance that you won't be attracted to them in real life, in which case, weigh your odds. Okay, so that's online space is done. That was quick and easy. Okay,
Bro,
now
dude, the online space is going to be way more complicated in the future. I don't know. I feel like she's missing a lot of stuff here. Like, I feel like in general, online, it's supposed to replicate the real world, right? So there should be actually like a bigger aspect of it that replicates what the real world looks like. But there are a number of problems there. Like for one, building trust, identity, having it not be as pressured, which was what I was talking about, and bridging that gap between like, you know, meeting them in person. I think there's a lot of things that currently social media does not do very well. In addition, a lot of social media sites like IG, Snapchat, things like that, it's like as they become bigger, it's more about like building up celebrities rather than like actually being able to meet new people. So at this point in time, social media is not really a app where it models where real life actually is. It's more of like for creators or celebrities to like generate revenue and for you to follow these like big celebrities. There was a time where Facebook was about friends and things like that, but as soon as they became bigger, it wasn't like that as well. So
original question, which is we're now going to discuss scenarios in which your crush is seeing someone. If you pick yes, your crush is seeing someone, define seeing, there's three options that you can now pick from. Okay, so number one is they're casually dating someone. Number two is they're in a relationship. And number three is they're hooking up with someone. So if you pick your crush is hooking up with someone, same person or multiple people. If you pick your crush is hooking up with multiple people, then you should tell them, but it depends what you want out of this. AKA, do you also want to just be hooking up with your crush, or do you want to be in a long-term relationship with your crush? In which case, I don't think it's going to happen at this point in time. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't think it's going to happen.
Let me ask you a
Bro,
question.
another ad.
How
Are you
many
kidding
agency
me?
owners, coaches, consultants do you know? And how many of them are telling other agency owners,
You pick your crush is hooking up with someone, but it's with the same person. They're in a situationship. What's their role in the situationship? There's now two options that you can choose. Number one, your crush is in a situationship and they're being dragged along by the other person who won't commit to your crush. The outcome you get from this is you should tell your crush you like them, but it's more likely than not they're going to be too blinded by that other person to ever reciprocate your feelings, in which case it's not even worth it. If you picked option two, your crush is in a situationship and they're the one who won't commit to this other person and is dragging this other person along, you get the outcome of don't tell them unless you also want to be in a situationship with this person, which you probably don't. Maybe you do, but most likely no.
dude, this whole branch feels like a New York thing.
And you don't want to be with this type of person anyway that will put you in a situationship. So I would say don't do it. So that covers all the scenarios of your crush is hooking up with someone. We're now going to discuss if you picked your crush is seeing someone and they're in a relationship with someone. Very obvious answer. Don't tell them. Homewrecker. Don't do it. I could get into like the nuances of like, oh, but what if they're not happy in their relationship? I mean, like, someone's gonna get mad with the comments. I'm not gonna delve into that. I'm not gonna discuss any of that. Blanket answer, don't tell them. And also seek proper advice. Don't ask me. Okay, final scenario. What a final stretch. If you pick yes, your crush is seeing someone and it's in the capacity that they're casually dating someone. Follow-up question, is it actually casual? If you pick no, it's not actually casual. While they're in a relationship, don't tell them. If you pick yes,
Yeah,
it
this
is
is
an
all
actually
like
casual
New York
relationship. Follow-up
stuff.
question, same person or multiple. If you pick multiple, again,
New
it depends.
York.
Same person,
New York.
okay, they're in a situationship, and then you go into the situationship branch, which is what's their role in the situationship. They're the person that won't commit, then don't tell them because you don't want to be with that person anyway. If you pick they're the person being dragged along in the situationship, tell them, but they're probably not gonna like you because they're too busy being emotionally dragged along by another person in the situationship. So tell them, but it's gonna end badly. There we go. We did it all. We did it. I did it. Okay, that's every scenario under the sun. All the scenarios that I can think
All
of.
right.
Off the top of
That was a really interesting video. So what have we learned? I definitely feel like there are fundamental things that most people agree on, which is, again, is this person seeing someone, which are the aspects of where you met them, which is also super interesting that she talked about it and broke it down to how you actually met this person. So in essence, even though people have different definitions of how relationships happen, I definitely feel like in the future, there has to be some way where we can break it down to some type of algorithm, particularly in the future where we have machine learning algorithms that can put weighted scores for all these types of different types of things. I don't know. For now, I think this is a really interesting concept and a really interesting video. And even with that as a mind map alone, without it being a huge app behind the scenes that's helping you out with relationships and things like that, you can give this to some software engineers and it could help them a huge ton in terms of how to approach social situations. I honestly think in the future there is a lot to be done here. So yeah, my conclusion is I'm definitely interested to see in the future from an online perspective, whether it's relationships or other friendships, if there are ways for it to become a better model of real life society and not just sort of a brute force way, quantity way of building relationships. So yeah, that was a really interesting video. This reaction has already gone on way too long. See you guys in the next video.